Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Secretary Collins, for being here, and thanks to the veterans that are here today. And I want to pass on the thanks from the 400,000 veteran state of Alabama. They have, for the first time in just 2 months, have seen progress at a lot of VAs in my state. We've seen a record number of disability claims processed, employees finally returning to work, and an end to the DEI programs like treatment for gender dysphoria. You know, the days of business, as we all are noticing and hearing today, are over, and finally our veterans are being put first. And let's talk about the budget a little bit, Mr. Secretary. Over the last 10 years, the VA's budget has more than doubled, and the number of employees at the VA has increased more than 100,000. But the number of veterans in our country is declining, and VA enrollment has changed. The VA has become a bloated bureaucracy. I think most of us will agree with that. Secretary Collins, why has the VA budget become so bloated over the last 10 years if the veteran population has remained stagnant?
Senator, I appreciate the question because there's also one other number that we're leaving out there as well, is that veteran population of actually enrolled in the VA has stayed steady at 9.1 million. No matter, and again, we can try and talk about numbers all we want here, but it's been 9.1 million steady for the last 10 years that we look at this. So we're also losing veterans as a total population, but we're also not gaining in the enrollment of the VA. What we tend to forget, and some people will say, well, we've had an increase in different programs we have, but we also lose about 400,000 veterans a year to death, natural causes. So, I mean, it's a priority of function. So what we're looking at here is there's been programs that have been increased, there's been a mandatory spending increase, and those have been the things that we look at. I think what we're actually looking at here, though, is there's been a decision that we want to, that it's easier to just put money and people toward issues without looking at, is there any cost or is there any real world aspect of that? Is there a return on investment? I think that as you talk to veterans, and I go out and talk to veterans, one of the things that we're having is that those amount of numbers and people aren't equating into how we can actually function. I appreciate the ranking member service, and I appreciate we just disagree on this, that when we have doctors and nurses that are, and other clinicians who are not actually, being clinicians and not reading, charts or doing anything else, they're actually, formulating policy or doing administrative work. When I have, these many folks that need to be more in the clinics, then we're not helping the veteran. That's just something that's not happening. When you're taking time to process disability claims that went up, then also not having the proper, computer, the AI technology to help us and do that, but also putting out the issues that are slowing up. And then also we get in our own way because we're such a bureaucratic organization. We have rules over rules over rules. I had a gentleman tell me just the other day, and this is, again, I've seen this before from my own daughter. He actually said that he was a double amputee. He actually said, I have to go to the VA. If I need a new wheelchair, I have to go to my primary care, a PT, and an OT before I can get a seating clinic appointment. Explain to me why we're having to go through that kind of mess to get straight to a seating clinic, which we know where they need to be to start with.
Thank you. I often hear a lot about the large amounts of paperwork and administrative burden VA doctors are forced to navigate when seeing patients. This leads to VA doctors seeing less patients per day. Where do you see the opportunity to reduce all these administrative processes?
I think there's plenty of opportunities there. And again, this has nothing to do with employees, has nothing to do with money counts. It's just simply, are we doing it most efficiently in the process? I've made a statement to every hospital that I go to, every clinic that I go to, every veteran benefit office that I go to say this: tell me what is, if you had, I use a proverbial 10 sheets of paper. If you have 10 sheets of paper to get a veteran the services that they need, or 10 sheets of paper to do the next thing, can you do it with 5? I mean, I'll show you an example. To apply for benefits in our VBA, there's a sheet on there that is on there that has a full listing of the veteran as far as just basic information about their military service. And this, for older veterans, could be a problem actually to go back and remember dates. If the veteran served, then we could use that with their name, their social security number, their DOD, or their ID number, using their DD-214. We can gain all the records that we need to confirm that they're a part. But yet we're making them go through this process of filling out a form that many of our veterans who may or may not have computer capabilities are having trouble with. So it makes it difficult.
I hear from some of the supervisors in the VAs, and they say we use 2 coding systems. One hospital coding system that is very, very effective, and the other one is from the WHO, which is a useless piece of crap. This comes from them. Why don't we use both of those?
That's something I'm looking at now, again, to try and streamline the issues that we have in our system so that, again, it is interesting, a lot of times we end up talking about processes and plans here and not talking about actual care and actually what the veteran experiences when they go in. Most of the veterans, I will tell you, a lot of times they actually when they get through the labyrinth of stuff to get there, they're happy with the service that they get. They're glad that they're getting the service, and they appreciate that. They enjoy the choice. But when we actually put restrictions on our employees and put restrictions on veterans getting in, it just makes it all the worse.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Murray.